This is the Music History Today podcast for December the 3rd. On today's show, it's debut time for Madonna and Band Aid, Scott Weiland passes away, and tragedy strikes at a Who concert. First up, though, on this date in 1907, the musical Talk of the Town opened at the Knickerbocker Theatre on Broadway. In 1930, the musical Evergreen opened in London at the Adelphi Theatre. In 1940, pianist Francine Favre married author Albert Camus in Lyon. In 1947, Patti Page recorded the song Confess with the George Barnes Trio. Sound engineer Bill Putnam, who couldn't find any backup singers that day because of a strike that prevented backup singers from being able to record, instead decided to try a new approach and layered Patti's vocals on top of each other, thus making the song the first known song to use overdubbed vocals. In 1953, the musical Kismet opened at the Ziegfeld Theatre on Broadway. In 1960, the musical Camelot opened at the Majestic Theatre on Broadway. In 1961, Brian Epstein met the Beatles for the first time when he spoke to them at the Cavern Club in Liverpool. In 1964, the Rankin Bass claymation Christmas classic based on the Gene Autry song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer premiered on television. We actually discussed Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer on a couple of weeks ago, the November the 20th through the 26th edition of the Music History In-Depth podcast, which has already obviously dropped on this channel. In 1966, the Monkees played their first concert. It was in Honolulu, Hawaii. In 1968, the Elvis concert special Elvis, also known as the 68 Elvis Presley Comeback Special, premiered on NBC TV. In 1969, John Lennon was offered the part of Jesus Christ in the musical Jesus Christ Superstar. He turned it down. In 1976, Bob Marley was among the targets of an assassination attempt in Jamaica while he was rehearsing for a concert. He survived with a bullet forever stuck in his arm. In 1976, same day, while shooting the cover for Pink Floyd's album Animals in London, England, the inflatable pig got loose from its moorings at Battersea Power Station in London and floated up to 18,000 feet. The pig was finally deflated and came down in Kent, England. In 1979, 11 people were killed in a stampede outside of a Who concert in Cincinnati, Ohio. We discuss what led up to this tragic event and a lot of other things on this week's Music History In-Depth podcast, which has already dropped on this station. In 1990, Madonna debuted the music video for Justify My Love late night on ABC television's news show Nightline with Ted Koppel. MTV had banned the music video. In 1994, the holiday favorite, the Hanukkah song by Adam Sandler, premiered on Saturday Night Live. In 1999, singer and actress Madeline Kahn passed away from cancer at the age of 57. In 2005, singer Marilyn Manson married burlesque performer Dita Von Teese. In 2014, MSNBC, now known as MS Now, reported that Axl Rose was reportedly found dead. Axl then took to Twitter on December the 4th to see if that meant that he could get out of paying his taxes. In 2014, the divorce of singer and actress Idina Menzel and actor Taye Diggs was finalized. In 2015, Crosby, Stills, and Nash performed together for the last time after Stephen Stills and David Crosby got into a fight during the White House National Christmas Tree Lighting Concert. 'Tis the season indeed. On that same day, Scott Weiland of the Stone Temple Pilots and also the group Velvet Revolver passed away at the age of 48. And in 2019, Spotify named Drake the most streamed artist of the decade with 28 billion streams, and Ed Sheeran's song Shape of You as the most streamed song with 2.4 billion streams in the decade. In award ceremonies that were held on December the 3rd in 2017, LL Cool J became the youngest person at the age of 49 and the first hip-hop artist to get a Kennedy Center honor. Albums that were released on December the 3rd include in 1965 when the Beatles released Rubber Soul, but in the UK on that date. Also in 1965, The Who released My Generation. That one was in America. In 1996, the Bloodhound Gang released One Fierce Beer Coaster, Spirit released California Blues, Elvis Costello and Steve Neve released Costello and Neve. In 2002, Mariah Carey released her album, Charm Bracelet. Singles that were released on December the 3rd include in 1965 when the Beatles did a twofer in the UK. They released We Can Work It Out and Day Tripper. In 1973, ex-Beatle Ringo Starr released his song, You're 16. And in 1984, Band Aid's Do They Know It's Christmas was released, but only in the United Kingdom at that point. And we also discussed that song and the making of it on this week's Music History In-Depth podcast as well, which is already dropped on the network. Before we continue, we'd like to tell you that we've started Season 2 of the Music History In-Depth podcast, where we go more in-depth on some of the events that we mention on this particular podcast. The Music History In-Depth podcast drops every Tuesday on this podcast network. Now, back to the Music History Today podcast. Artists who were born on December the 3rd include Rock and Roll Hall of Famer himself, Mr. Ozzy Osbourne. Also, singer Andy Williams, singer Montel Jordan, Dwayne Rowland of Molly Hatchet, rapper Trina, Don Barnes of 38 Special, Connie Boswell of the Boswell Sisters, composer Gussie Davis, Mickey Thomas of Jefferson Starship, Nikki Stevens of Brotherhood of Man, John Wilson of Them, singer Paul Nicholas, singer J.P. Morgan, that's J with a J-A-Y-E, not to be confused with the bank, country music singer Ferlin Husky, Paul Gregg of Restless Heart, rapper Mickey Avalon, and Joe Lally of Fugazi. Artists who unfortunately passed away on December the 3rd, other than the ones mentioned earlier, include hymn writer the Countess Emily Julian of Schwarzburg-Rodolstedt, organist Joseph Pautow, violinist Johann Kilowoda, organist Richard Warren. Something going on with organists that day. Blues musician Cow Davenport, organist, another one, Herman Stefani, musician Bill Johnson, jazz trombonist Emil Christian, jazz singer Bob Howard, guitarist Jimmy Shirley, conductor Pierre Hetou, jazz pianist Scatman John, TV theme composer Hoyt Curtin, guitarist Grady Martin of the Nashville A-Team session musicians, singer-songwriter Logan Whitehurst, record producer Philip Burrell, Island record co-founder Graham Goodall, Sonny Bivens of the Manhattans, Ian McLagan of the Faces, reggae keyboard player Gladys Anderson, guitarist Antonio Membrado, opera singer Gigliola Frazzolini, pianist Andre Gagnon, Zydeco musician Black Ardoin, and singer-songwriter Miles Goodwin of the group April Wine. Next on the Music History Today podcast, it is December the 4th, when in 1927, Duke Ellington played at the legendary Cotton Club in Harlem, New York for the first time, and catapulted his career to the stratosphere.